Hi, this is the first animation screencast for web design. It's a bouncing ball effect. We're going to go over how to create a shape, add color, a little bit about motion tweens, which is what you're seeing right here, a little bit about frames and the play button, just a little intro animation to start out with. Okay. Okay, so I am going to File, New. When I open a new Flash file, you always click Action Script 3. If you want to change your background color, you can do it here. You could always do it after as well. But if you want to do it here, you could always change your background color to some kind of color if you wanted to. Like I said, this is not the only place that you can do that, but I now changed my stage to being like a magenta color. So here's my stage like we discussed briefly last week. Here's our timeline. The tools, which I know you guys were looking at a lot of tools in Flash. Here's our properties panel and our library. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to click on frame number 1. And what I'm going to do in frame number 1 is I am going to create a circle. So I'm going to go to my toolbar. You highlight over it says oval tool. Yours might say rectangle tool. It's got a flyout of these tools. So you want to make sure you select the oval tool. Flash works a lot like Photoshop. If you want an oval, you would just drag it. But I want a perfect circle. So I am going to hold the Shift key down when I use my oval tool, and it gives me a perfect circle. And then if I decide I don't want a blue circle, I want to change my color, you can always go to your properties panel. Okay, you don't even have to click it again, don't even touch it. Under fill and stroke, this would be your stroke. When you see those lines and it being gray, that means there's none. And your fill color, you can always click another color and it will change your current circle. Okay. So at this point, I am going to click below my timeline and notice that because I put something in the timeline, it's giving me in frame 1 this dot. Okay, I'm going to click below and then click on the dot, the frame 1. How I know I'm in frame 1 is if I look at the bottom of the timeline box here, at the very bottom, right by the play buttons, I see a 1. So with that selected on frame 1, I am going to insert, it's a pull down, timeline, insert, and then I'm going to give it a motion tween. And what Flash tells you is that the selected item cannot be tweened, but we want to tween it to show motion. You must convert this to a symbol in order to tween. And this is going to be a rule of thumb going forward. Whenever you want to show motion for anything, you have to turn it into a symbol in Flash. Do you want to convert and create a tween? I'm going to say yes. So automatically I look at my timeline here. So now my bar went from gray to being light blue, and I have something at frame 1. And then if I click through the frames, I notice that my circle is constant throughout all these frames. It's there. Okay. So the next step, what we're going to do is now select frame 5. So I'm going to always click below, and then I'm going to click frame 5. And how I know I'm on frame 5, I can look at the bottom again and it tells me it's 5. Wherever you see this red marker line, it will tell you below. Like if I'm on 10, it'll tell me I'm on 10 on the bottom. Okay, but I want to be on 5. And on 5, I'm going to insert timeline frame. And at frame, make sure I'm on my top selection tool. I am going to take my circle and I'm going to drop it down a little bit and it's going to make this dotted line. So Flash is telling us that the circle starts here and it's dropping now. So now I'm going to again click below. After I made my frame, it all turned dark blue. Now I click below and it's light blue again, my timeline. And I'm going to do another frame at frame 10. So I make sure I'm on 10. I do insert timeline frame, and before I do anything again, I'm going to move my circle in another direction, and you're going to see the dotted line going in that other direction. Again, notice my timeline got dark blue. Okay, I have to click below because I want to see light blue, and then I'm going to, at 15, insert timeline frame, and I am going to again move the ball in a different direction. I'm going to do the same thing at 20, insert timeline frame, and I have to move it, and then I'm going to do 25, insert timeline frame, and I'm actually going to move it off the box. Okay, so I can do another one if I want. At 30, insert timeline frame, and then I can take it from off the box and I can bring it across here too. You can do whatever you want, okay, as many frames as you want. So now let's look at it in play mode. So if you click the play button at the very bottom, and click the play button. Now right now it's at 24 frames. This is the frame rate, frames per second. I'm going to slow it down. 24 is pretty fast. I'm going to change it to like 17. And then I'm going to hit my play button. Well, let's just see what happens. So I can even slow it down even more. Okay, pretty cool. Now if you want to loop it and have it continuously play, you can click on this loop. See, it's like a curved arrow down there. When you click on loop, it'll show you where it's going to loop from. Like if you hit play right now, it's just going to keep looping at that point in time on your timeline. So I want it to loop the whole entire animation here, so I'm going to drag it so it starts at the 1 and ends at the 30. And now I'm going to hit play, and it's just going to be continuously playing in a loop. So that's your first animation in Flash. Not as hard as you thought, right? Make sure you save your file. Do save as. Let's just call it your first initial, last name, bouncing ball. Okay. I'm sorry, your initials. AG, my initials, bouncing ball. Save it, and you're done. All right, great job today, and we will start our next tutorial very soon.